Greetings and welcome to another edition of The Great Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Praise be to Goddess. Well, here it is, another Wednesday, and today is the last day of the Festival of the Maiden. And we celebrate this day by giving speeches about the Maiden. So I have a speech prepared for you today. It's a very brief speech and painless speech about the Maiden, and you'll love it. So today is the day of the Festival of the Maiden, and the Maiden is the maiden aspect of Goddess. There's Maiden, Mother, and Crone. And Maiden is one of three aspects of Goddess. Three. Maiden, Mother, and Crone. Those are the three aspects of Goddess. And today is the Maiden. Today is the Maiden aspect of Goddess. And we've celebrated purification. We've gone through purification to make ourselves worthy of Goddess and to get ourselves ready. And now today is the day of the Goddess, the Maiden aspect of Goddess. What is the Maiden? Who is the Maiden? Well, the Maiden is that aspect of Goddess which is innocent and sweet and pure of heart and pure of soul. So everything that's pure of mind, pure of body, and pure of spirit. That's the Maiden. And she's always been pure, and she always will be pure. She's pure at heart and pure at soul. And the Maiden is like the core of Goddess. When we think of Goddess, we think of layers of Goddess, and the outer layer is the Crone. And a layer in between is the Mother, and then at the core is the Maiden, because the Maiden is the core of Goddess. She's the heart of Goddess, and she's pure at heart. She's pure and innocent like a little girl, and we can't conceive of that, how she can be both wise and innocent at the same time, but she is. She's Maiden, Mother, and Crone all simultaneously. So we can't conceive of that, but she is. She's innocent and pure at her soul level, at her spiritual level. At her core, she's innocent and pure like a little girl, and that's the Maiden. Now, I have an interesting incident to relate to you that reminds us of the Maiden today. And this happened to me the other day. I was sitting on a bus, and onto the bus hopped a little boy and his father. And the little boy sat down next to me. And the father was standing in front of the little boy on the bus because there were no seats. He had to stand. And the little boy was kicking his legs. He was kicking and kicking his legs and bothering his father. And he kicked the bag that his father was holding. He was kicking the bag all back and forth. And the father was very annoyed, and he said, "If you don't behave yourself, you're not going to the park." And the little boy began sulking. He was sulking because he wouldn't get to go to the park, but then he began kicking again more vigorously than ever. And his father said, "Do you want to go to the park?" And the little boy said, "Yes." And his father said, "Well, if you want to go to the park, you'd better behave yourself." And so then the little boy stopped kicking. The reason I find this story interesting is because the little boy's kicking was harmless. He wasn't hurting anyone by kicking. Now, if he had been a bigger boy, if he'd been a bigger boy and started kicking, he could have done some serious damage to his father. But because he was just a little boy, because he was just a tiny, small boy, he couldn't do a lot of harm by kicking. And so he was harmless. He was harmless but annoying. And how many times do we ourselves feel like that little boy? How many times are we ourselves harmless but annoying? And how many times do we encounter people in our everyday lives that are harmless but annoying, that annoy us no end and bother us, but they're completely harmless. They're not doing any harm by being annoying. They're just annoying us because we have some sort of pet peeve of one type or another, and the people are bothering us that are harmless but annoying. Well, this is interesting because the maiden aspect of goddess is this way also, harmless but annoying. And the reason I say that she's annoying is because she's endlessly creative. And when goddess is endlessly creative, sometimes she creates things that annoy us no end because we have pet peeves. And so some of the things that goddess creates annoy us. But because goddess is endlessly creative, she creates things that are harmless but annoying all the time, because the goddess is harmless. She's harmless at her core. She doesn't do harm. She does no harm. That's her one major objective, to do no harm. But she can be annoying at times because she creates situations that are annoying to us and triggers our pet peeves and annoys us with her behavior, or with things that she's created. Things that she's created might annoy us. So this is the core of goddess, is endless creativity, harmless, sometimes annoying, not always annoying, but sometimes annoying, and very, very pure, very innocent in her soul. So just like this innocent little boy that was kicking his legs, having fun kicking, and didn't know that he was disturbing his father, so too the goddess is innocent and pure and doesn't know when she's disturbing us, because she does know when she's disturbing us, but she doesn't stop being endlessly creative just because she annoyed us. And so goddess is creative and endlessly creative and creates things that sometimes annoy us, but we should think about it. Is goddess ever going to stop being endlessly creative? No. She's the same always. So she's always going to be endlessly creative. So we're the ones that will have to change. We're the ones that have to change because we're annoyed by certain things and bothered by certain things. But because she's endlessly creative, she's always going to come up with things that might annoy us. So we have to change. We have to change our perceptions, and we have to change our viewpoint. We have to let go of some of our pet peeves, because that's what I ask you all to do this festival of the Maiden. Let go of your pet peeves towards someone you love. Maybe it's a small child that annoys you, and let go of your pet peeves toward them and become more innocent and pure and accepting in your heart and soul toward another child of goddess, because we're all children of goddess at heart. We're all children. So because we're all children at heart, the goddess seems adult toward us because she's the creator, but she can also be like a little girl. She can also be innocent and pure like a little girl also. So we have to be tolerant like adults toward her endless creativity, and be tolerant of the things that some of the things that she creates, because some of the things that she creates might annoy us, but we need to be adult about it and learn tolerance. That's the lesson for today, is tolerance. To learn to tolerate that which annoys us, because goddess is endlessly creative, because some things may annoy us that are very harmful. But I'm talking about innocent things that aren't, like that little boy kicking, that aren't harmful, that are just annoying us, and we need to be tolerant of the innocent ones in this world. Well, that's all for now. I'm Sarah Jane Alpha Wolf signing off. Have a great week and enjoy the Festival of the Maiden.